What it is! How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about people, places, and things that should be movies. We're going to be talking about all the things we can think of and things that maybe we can't even think of that we're just going to look up on the internet. It's going to be a whole wild event of an episode, and you're going to want to hear what we have to say. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, and listen on in to the first ones to die.
Hey everyone, welcome to the First Ones to Die podcast. We hope you're having a great day. We hope you are happy, smiling, and just ready to conquer the rest of the week ahead. All right. My name is Jonathan. I'm here with Alex and Jerome. You would have thought that beginning was the beginning to like a meditation podcast, but that's the energy we're bringing in today.
We're bringing in positive. How's it going?
Meditative
energy. We're
just
going to take a time and just play a little bit of slow jazz for you.
We're just going to breathe a little bit.
Just going to breathe in and breathe out. Just going to put some herbal tea on the kettle and just have a vanilla bean candle lit in the corner.
That's right.
Can you smell the vanilla?
Beautiful. Lovely. We love that. Alex, how are you doing today with your lovely pink sparkly headband? Oh, what's the tea? That's good. Sometimes it's better to just be in a static, stationary place. Not too high, not too low. Yeah.
Doing good. I organized my desk. It is very clean now, which has been nice. Which is why you also have a different camera view, audience. So don't worry. The whole apartment hasn't shifted. It's just my desk has been cleaned and I've moved my monitor. But
that was my first thought.
You never know. Some people get used to one thing and they're just like, "What is this? How dare you change the setting?"
The feng shui. Or if you're sitting in a certain position and then you shift just slightly, but you try to get back to that original position and it's not as comfortable, and you're like, "Get me," even though you're in the position that you were in, you're like, "This is not how, take me back to how the position was that I was just in."
So yeah, it's been cool. It's been an all right week. I'm now officially 28, and life still feels the same, and yet different all at the same time.
You are now officially in your late 20s.
Yeah, this is true. It's true.
You're like in your late 20s,
and I am jealous of my I am jealous of my some of my friends, because San Diego Comic-Con, by the time this releases, actually I think it'll be past by then, but I'm jealous of some of my friends from the Milestone Initiative and others that I respect and love who have gotten a chance to go. Please support independent comic creators if you have gone or going to the Comic Cons that are later this year, because New York Comic Con is the next big Comic Con upcoming. So please do, if you go to either, support independent comic creators, buy their comics and stuff like that. I wish I could be there to do exactly that. We also have gotten a lot of news at San Diego Comic Con, most of which we are not going to talk about today. But video game news wise, I did see the Mortal Kombat trailer, and it looks like Mortal Kombat. There's some new characters in there that are like old characters I haven't seen in a long time, so that's interesting, because they're characters I thought would never come back as playable characters. Just because, like, the PlayStation 2 era of Mortal Kombat is a weird era. Like, that's when they were trying new things, and sometimes they didn't always work, especially because they were trying to also, like, make a new generation of characters, essentially. Because up until that point, it was like, they had always, like, introduced new characters, but the old roster was always there. They were just adding new characters as they built on what was already there. So, like, Shang Tsung just got older, but Shang Tsung was still there. You still had Liu Kang, but he just had a slightly different thing. Sub-Zero was still there, but now it's his brother. Like, they always kept building on the original lore by just finding new ways to keep the same characters around, but just change them up a little bit. Once they hit the 3D era is when they were like, let's just swap out some characters. Let's just get rid of some people. Like, instead of having Kano, we're going to have this dude named Jarek instead. Instead of having Shao Kahn, let's have this other guy whose name I can't remember. Maybe that was Jarek. I can't remember. Instead of having, like, a right hand to Shao Kahn who's like a big bruiser guy, let's make this guy named General Reiko. He's new. Or I think Jarek actually was the replacement Kano. Like, instead of having Kano, let's have this other guy. And it's like, no, give me my classic characters. And they also tried, like, crazy stuff too, because, like, there was once where there's a character named Mocap. His thing is he's a dude in a mocap suit. That's it. That's his thing.
That's it.
Yeah. There's a character named.
Right.
Like, that was the game where to save space on fighting styles, they had multiple characters have the same fighting style, because I think that was Armageddon. They were like, we're going to have every character who's ever been a Mortal Kombat character be playable. And so Mocap was one of them. And it's like, so to save disk space, because they had to make space for the characters, they didn't even do fatalities or set fatalities that year. It was they created a new thing called the creative fatality, where you just mash certain buttons and then you can, like, rip an arm off or rip a leg off, and then but everybody did the same thing. Nobody had, like, unique fatalities like it is now or back in the day, because they needed to make space. They didn't have the room to put in the coding. The same thing with the combat styles. So his combat style was kind of like a generic combat style that, like, 5 or 6 other characters had. What's his thing? He's a dude with no flesh, and he's just dripping with blood because he's literally just the meat of a human being. Jonathan left on that note because needless to say, Mortal Kombat's been weird at times. Just like any game franchise that's ran this long. I mean, we're at Mortal Kombat 12. Like, when you have 12 games, you're gonna have a few that are, like, weird or have weird things to them. But yeah, so that's that. And music wise, I've been listening to the XXL freshman class has been deemed this year. Is once again pretty forgettable, as it is often every year. And the future of hip hop does not look any brighter or duller. It just looks like it's going to stay pretty much the same. Although the standouts, for me personally, were Finesse 2 Times, coming out of Memphis. He's out here. He sounded pretty dope. I liked his cypher and freestyle. He was pretty cool. Lola Brooks, she sounds good, coming out of Brooklyn. I love her Brooklyn hardcore accent. Reminds me of someone like a Remy Ma or like a Nicki Minaj. So I'm excited to hear more from her in the future. And the other person who, like, XXL does this almost every year now, or every other year, they'll put a singer on the freshman list, but then they'll have them do the rap cipher, which is supposed to be for rappers. And so they don't exactly make it easy for the singers who are clearly that's their thing, is they're a melodic rapper or just a straight singer. And so they fail, and his cipher was terrible. But I gave him a pass. Friday is the one they did this year, and I gave him a pass because I'm like, you're a singer. You clearly are a vocalist. That's your thing. So hopefully, this will not look badly on him as a vocalist. Because they did the same thing to Anderson .Paak, too. Anderson .Paak was on the freshman list, and his cipher was terrible, too. But we all know he's really talented, and it's because he's a better singer than he is a rapper. So, there's
I know nothing of what you're talking about.
XXL is a hip hop magazine, and every year they do a thing called the freshman list, in which they pick, or I want to say they pick the best. They used to pick the best rappers, upcoming rappers of the year. Like Kendrick Lamar has been on the list, Logic, Kid Cudi, Chance the Rapper, Mac Miller. They used to pick some pretty dope people, and they still do to a degree. But now it's just become a popularity contest. Whoever's the most popular artist at the time of them making the list is normally the people who make the list, which means that sometimes they don't pick the people who are the most talented, just people that are popping at that moment. It's just how you've gotten people like Designer to make the list, or Iggy Azalea to make the list, or Macklemore to make the list. These are people who are you don't know how much longevity they have, but they're on the list because at the time they were really popular. And so a lot of people have kind of discredited the XXL freshman list as maybe they might pick popular people.
All those people still know their names,
Some,
even though they haven't maintained, even though they still may not be making as many hits as they did back then, people still know them.
I will say they sometimes get a good year every now and again, and because 2018 they had that year they had Megan Thee Stallion on the list, Rico Nasty, Cordae, DaBaby, Blueface, a lot of popular rappers at that. Tierra Whack was on that list that year, so it's some years they get a really good batch of people, and then it's just every that's in between every other, I don't know, 4 or 5 years where we just get a list with maybe one talented person, maybe two, and everybody else is mediocre to bad, or just have a bad day. Because Coi Leray still gets clowned for her inclusion on the list,
but she's everywhere right now.
Right, but she's popular. She just wasn't in her element, I think, to do that specific thing. But when you listen to her music outside of that, it sounds pretty decent. So I don't know. It's been a week of music. Hopefully all those artists find their niche, find their place. Because Lil Dicky was on the list, and he's found back in 2016, and now he's found his place. So it's possible.
I was just talking to my mom about how she asked me about some artist, and I forget which one. And she's like, do you like them? I'm like, well, I like a song of theirs. And she's like, but do you like the artist? I'm like, I don't know the artist anymore. And I'm like, I used to be really big into knowing bands and artists and things like that. Now I'm in this level of I like the song, and that's and when somebody's like, oh, this is this artist, I'm like, I have no idea who you're talking about. I'm in that era of music for myself where you can name all these artists. I'm like, I know the songs, but I don't even know their names attached to the songs. I'm not even going to lie.
Jonathan, how was your week?
Good. Speaking of music, on Monday at work we had the Harry Styles wax figure launch. We put together an event. Yeah, so you can visit Harry Styles at 7 Dinosaurs locations around the world right now. We had an influencer event. It went really well. A lot of the influencers, they were really happy with the figure and the event and stuff. So that was really nice. Mm-hmm. And then last night, which we're recording this on Sunday, so Saturday night, one of the people who was at the event, he does DJ. He's a DJ, and he does shows that are either nostalgic. So he does the it's called the Bop to the Top tour, and they get like they do remixes of I think High School Musical and maybe like other Disney Channel like nostalgic songs, and they do shows. I don't know if you've seen any of the TikToks of the like Victorious ones, where people are at the Victorious shows. The guy who played Robbie on Victorious, he goes around and does DJing and performs nostalgic like Nickelodeon and Disney songs, and that's kind of the same concept. But basically, last night they had the One Direction 13th anniversary party at the Belasco in downtown Los Angeles. And it was so much fun. So his name is Michael. He is the guy who's the DJ who went to the event. He invited me and one of my coworkers because we had invited him to the event, and he gave us like a VIP thing. So we got to sit on the side of the stage, and the crowd was on the other side. And at one point we had like we got to go in the back where there's like the green room where the artists hang out, and the dressing room. We had that area to ourselves for like water and stuff. And at one point we even went up on the stage, and I have a video of me on the stage dancing to a One Direction song that I did not know one lyric of, but it was
You took
still
your moment.
a lot of yes, and it was like a sold out crowd. There were a lot of people there, singing their hearts out to One Direction. I did not know most of the words, but I was just happy to be there and happy to be invited. So it was definitely a lot of fun. So shout out to Michael.
Best thing I got from my job, I got a pizza party once. You get clearly I'm in the wrong career field.
Pizza sounds really good right now, to be fair, though.
Oh, shut up.
Pizza. It does.
Oh yeah,
I
pizza
could go
sounds
for some
great.
pizza.
You know, after going on stage, you know, and out on a sold out show. But pizza, delicious.
So today,
I don't have anything to say. I was just breathing.
That feels like
So-
it's a trick breath.
So, audience,
right? I thought you were about to say something.
Well, I was gonna say if we're moving on, audience, as you can tell from if you haven't checked out, first of all, if you checked out last week's review, our retro review of Rat Race, we said we were going to do another review this week, but we have decided to not do that, as you can probably tell from the title, and that is due to us standing in solidarity with the SAG-AFTRA and WGA unions as they continue to strike against big studios and even smaller studios to a degree. But definitely the bigger studios actively, the strike is still continuing as the time of this recording. And so, we will not be talking about any new releases of any kind in regards to movie and TV media specifically, but that probably extends to other media as well. So do not expect any new reviews in regards to new media anytime soon until the producers come back to the table and discuss with the actors and writers a deal that is lucrative and helps everybody get paid so they can all have a living wage. And that's where we're standing with it. So since we're not doing that, we are instead doing going to be doing a lot more, of course, trivia episodes. Expect some of those, and also expect some topical episodes in which we're just going to do some freestyle episodes, which we know you guys love because you love us, and that is the best thing about your life. Yes, that's right. I said it. You have to take that to the bank with you. So,
Made it
that
weird.
being said, we're going to do some
Coming
more
for their
freestyle
livelihoods
episodes.
now.
Huh? What?
Never mind.
That's right. We're taking over from the 99 to the 2000s. Anyway, we're going to be doing more freestyle episodes. We're just going to be talking about topics that we find interesting, things that we think you'd be interested in to hear us talk about. And, definitely comment below what you think about these topics as well. And also, it's going to open it up. I feel like it's going to open it up to more people to be able to just chime in, talk about with us what we're talking about. So please.
Or what topics should we talk about? Do you have any suggestions?
Or that too. Yeah.
You can email us thefirstones2die@gmail.com or follow us on social, comment, DM us thefirstones2die.
Please keep it very mature. We're not gonna talk about nasty stuff, so just let that be known right now. All right.
We're doing an OnlyFans episode.
Please no. Yes, we are gonna start an OnlyFans. It's gonna be us cooking. We're just gonna be in the kitchen cooking up recipes, and that's it. Everything's gonna be closed on everything. All right. So if you want to see Rome's kitchen, in which I make ramen noodles, top ramen with the various assortments of herbs and spices, much like the Colonel, subscribe to the OnlyFans when we make it.
There's going to be a soundbite now of you just saying subscribe to OnlyFans, right? That's out there in the world. A whole thing. There's a lot of middle part, yes, but like front and back, or kind of. Anyway, what is the special topic we are talking about today?
Today we are talking about people, places, and things that should be turned into movies in honor of like blank movies coming out this past weekend. So we're gonna talk about things that have to our knowledge, mind you, because there's a lot of things that have been turned into movies, from board games to toys to books and so things like that.
And if we talk about something that has do not come at our throats, if we talk about something that has already been made into a movie or TV show, we are just trying our best, okay?
This is off the cuff, people. We have not made a list or anything of stuff we wanted to talk about.
I made a small list, but it just
did you? Okay. Well, not all of us made lists. You just made it. Just
no, I had a list.
Oh, okay.
I didn't just make it. I had my own.
So weeks ago, I think this might have been in our, or shoot, I can't remember. In one of our reviews. It's still the
I gotta censor it out now. I guess I gotta go through the effort.
In our review, in one of our reviews previously, we talked about, shoot, can I even talk about this now? We talked about the fact that there was
a couple episodes ago. We just talked about something. Just put it that way.
Yes, we talked about
at a time
movie.
When we were on camera. We talked about a thing that we hadn't talked about because that thing had not been mentioned in previous other episodes of this podcast.
Well, I was going to say
our Pride episode.
No, it was. Oh yeah. Well, that was the episode. Yeah, but we talked about a movie starring Patrick Swayze and Whoopi Goldberg that we think would make a good musical. I had since found out that musical was already made a long time ago, like in the 2010s.
Oh,
so yes, so that's an example of us talking about, what if this was this? We're not Google, okay? We might have Google on our computers right now, but we ain't go through all that. Sometimes we just.
Also, we are keeping this strictly to nouns, all right, folks? So we're not talking about the specific movies that should be made into remade, or books that should be made into the movies. We've already done those topics before, actually, in other previous episodes. So if you want to hear us talk about that stuff, you can go to those previous episodes and find out what our thoughts are on that. We are specifically leaving it to things that maybe you might not even think about, inanimate objects and whatnot, and possible people in history, or things that just have happened in history or just in the past that should be turned into some other type of media, preferably a movie or TV show. So just to clarify where the rules are.
All I'm gonna say is this intro has been
Very
something itself.
Oh, this is gonna be a fun time to try and constantly skirt the line of trying not to be very specific.
For possibly 90 days or more. Up to
it's gonna be
months.
longer. All right, I'm prepared for this to be the new COVID. All right, this is gonna go on for a long time. It's
The new COVID.
not as deadly, but it lasts just as long.
Well, does anybody want to start with their first suggestion? Because I have a couple.
I want
I'll start
a
with
movie off
Okay.
of Simon Says, the Simon Says machine.
Oh.
I want a horror movie based off of the Simon Says like toy machine.
Oh, like if
There was a toy?
if you break the rules.
Well, you know the Simon Says thing where it has the four
It's the thing where you
colors and
push
then
the
it's like the
buttons.
do do
Oh.
do, like you have to match it. Like I want a
Kinda
horror
like-
movie off of that.
Yeah. Kind of like Bop It.
Yeah, a horror movie off Bop It would also be satisfactory. I dig it.
I think Simon Says would have more of the appeal. It wouldn't
Can
seem
you just
as
imagine
comedic.
it? Like it's like they're like someone's just trying to like they're in a dark room. It's just ominous music, and then it's just here in the distance. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. It's just like,
I feel like
you
a
have
lot
to
of
press the
Hasbro
right
toys could
colors,
just be made
or
into
you'll
movies.
die.
Chutes and ladders. Chutes and ladders. There was a guy on TikTok who made a bunch of movie posters, and they were horror films based off old board games, like Break the Ice with the little penguin and you had to hit the thing.
Oh
It's like don't break the ice, and then like Chutes and ladders or things like that. And I was like, that's cool. I used to love Chutes and ladders when I was a kid. I wasn't good at it, even though it was a dice game. I'm not good at board games.
Did you hear that Clue? And I'm talking about the board game here. Is getting a musical adaptation?
That's
I would
interesting.
love that.
Is it
I'm
based
so
off
excited.
the board game or is it based off of the?
Or
the
sorry, it's a
movie?
play. It's not a musical. I don't know if it's a musical or a play, but no, it's based off of the movie. But yeah, and I remember in our review, we were like, oh, this could be, or maybe I did. I don't know who did, but we were like, this should be a stage play.
Like a
What
really
type of
like
movie
intense
is
game
it?
of Scrabble. A horror film, obviously. I used to have nightmares about spelling, like for like spelling bees and stuff. Like I used to have nightmares about that as a kid. Being forced to play Scrabble for my life, I think would make a great like horror movie for me. Anyway,
What about Twister?
See, I feel like that'd be like a Saw horror movie, where like
Like
it's
they
literally
twist
Twister,
people's
they're, like,
bodies up.
right
and
head
they
and
cut-
green, and you have to like twist your body, like like twist it. And
I'm seeing like a theme with games. They're often turned into like horror pieces. What is a
'Cause-
game do you think that could be like turned into something happier or like not at least a horror?
Oh my
Ooh,
gosh! Oh
I
my
have
gosh.
one.
I have one too. You
I
go
was
first.
gonna say Operation as a like
That would be a
romantic-
horror movie.
No, as a romantic drama. See, hear me out. It's a guy who has all this stuff in his body, right? And the only doctor that can save him is this woman that he falls in love with as she like pulls the things out of him. And as she's pulling the things out, they reflect on like all the most of the movie is reflecting on their relationship that's led them to this moment in which he had this terrible accident where he's had a light bulb replace his nose and also had all of these weird items enter into his body, including a wishbone that shouldn't be where it's supposed to be, and all that stuff. And so it's just as she's doing this life-threatening operation, it's very intense. But also, you know that their love is the thing that's keeping him alive because he's like, I know you could do it, babe. And God.
That still
No,
sounds
don't
You've
do
thought
that.
of
Don't
this
touch
pretty
before.
the sides.
terrifying. Yeah, getting your nose replaced by a light bulb sounds so pretty terrifying.
Yeah,
What
it
about
still
you,
sounds a
Jonathan?
little
What was your game?
horror-ish to me. Mine was gonna be so there was this game that I played all the time as a kid. I had it up in my closet. It was called Chicken Limbo. I don't know if anybody else played this or remembers it or had it. It was essentially limbo. So you had the two stands on the side, you had the limbo stick, and you had this chicken in the middle with its tail. And the chicken, it had this like audio, so it would like sing while you were doing the limbo. It was like, bark, 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 bark. It was like singing this whole entire song. And then if you accidentally touched the chicken, then you would lose. And that was the whole thing of the game. So it was like Limbo, but with an extra element because the chicken had a little thing on
This
it, and it
sounds
would
like
know
another
if you
horror
accidentally
movie.
touched it. So
Yeah, you touch the chicken, you die. Or worse, they remove you from the game. Also, I've never heard of Chicken Limbo.
look it up. Look it up. It was great. It was great.
Do you all remember that game? That anxiety-inducing game where you had to fit the shapes into the design, and there was a timer, and if you didn't get it in time, it'd pop up.
Yes.
Pop. What was it called?
Pop something.
Pop. Yeah, pop something.
I hated that game so much, but honest to God, I played it at least 3 times after school, like almost every day. I don't know what. Well, I guess it's the same reason why I watch horror films. There was like I like that anxiety-inducing stuff.
I
But
think
that
it's
game,
Perfection. That's what it's called. It's called
Perfection. That's right.
are you serious?
Yes.
They
that's
called the
exactly what
game
it's called.
Perfection that literally would just pop at you, and like sometimes the pieces went flying. That like it wasn't as simple like it came up. No, that thing reset and like
So that's
pieces
a
would go
thriller.
flying and
That
scare
has
you.
to be like it's like a bomb's connected to the thing. It's like you have a timer. Put the shapes in. It's like where's the triangle? Where's the triangle, Steve?
It's definitely got to be like a comedy thriller because there's no way you can seriously say you have to put the shapes in the right holes to stop the bomb. Like there's something weird. But that game, Perfection, oh my God, I hated that game. I feel like that would fall thriller horror again. See, games get turned into horror films. You can't convince me that there's a game out there.
Or what about the one where you have all the sticks in like the little cup, and then you put the marbles over it, and then you pull out the sticks one at a time, and it's either like the person who drops the most marbles or the person who drops the last marble loses. Have you seen that one?
I know what you're saying. I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what it's called, but I do know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it with marbles. They're like the bigger balls, like playpen balls, and with the sticks. But yeah, if you keep pulling out until one of them finally like lets all of them loose, because it's like a little avalanche.
Right.
Which again, I just feel like there's not a game that can't be turned into a horror film or any other real type of film. Well, I guess there was one game and they did it, so I can't say that. Actually,
let's make Yahtzee into a movie.
I still to this day, I mean, they've made animated movies of this, but I still want a live action film. Hot Wheels. Make the Hot Wheels movie, okay? I want it. I want to see these that's an easy way driving down these like ridiculous tracks in live action, like through volcanoes and shit, doing loop-de-loops and everything. I want to see that movie.
That'd be such an easy way it'd be such an easy concept for a movie, you know?
It
Absolutely.
would, and everybody.
Also, we didn't one that I've been thinking about that could be, there is one toy that could be like a really cute animated movie. Littlest Pet Shop. You remember those?
That was not what I was expecting.
The big headed like little cute dogs and stuff. Here, I'll look it up. But it was
I know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
They were like almost adjacent to Polly Pocket.
Yes, they were often kind of like I honestly used to get them very like confused when I was younger between Polly Pocket and Littlest Pet Shop, where I was like, they're the same thing, right? And it's like, no, they're absolutely not the same thing. Hold on, here,
okay.
Alex, this is Littlest Pet Shop. Remember these?
No, I didn't have those. No, I didn't have a Polly Pocket either.
Yeah.
My
sister had
I have
literally
stuff that looks like that now.
My sister had this hold on. The she like this one, the Playhouse, she had that with the tube and everything. Where you could like have the pets in there, and it was like a whole little store and everything. It was great. And you could like collect them all. They were adorable. And I feel like that's a great way you could make like a comedy movie where it's like this guy and he has like a pet store, but all the pets are like super tiny, but they're so adorable. And he's like a pet store that was going out of business until he found these alien-like pet creatures.
What about
I
a
didn't
Tamagotchi?
have anything like that growing up, but I do actually have something similar to that now as an adult, but it's Freddy Krueger.
Funko Freddy
So I
Krueger.
have like, yeah, the Funko, but he's like tiny, so it's like, yeah, it's kind of like something like that. Just a baby Funko
Or
version.
a Funko movie? Actually, I think they might be making one, a Funko movie,
I
aren't they?
think there is one. I would imagine. I mean, if the can be happen, the Funko movie can happen.
You mean the redacted movie?
Redacted. It's gonna be just a bunch of
Okay.
bleeps of just like all these movies.
I was gonna put
Redacted.
What about a Tamagotchi movie?
I
I just
that's
found
what
out
made me
I
think
have
of Littlest Pet
quarters.
Shop was Tamagotchi. Like
Mm.
I think it could be funny. That could go both ways. That could either be like go in the realm of like insert like brick based toy movie here where it's where it's like the world of Tamagotchis, like all the pets they're like, I haven't eaten in many days.
Right.
Feed me.
Feed me or I will die.
Or it could become like a horror movie where it's
Oh,
about the real world where a person gets obsessed with feeding their Tamagotchi and the Tamagotchi's like the devil or something. And then he's just like, feed me souls.
or the Tamagotchi escapes the game and takes revenge for it not being fed or taken care of. Be like, I finally got
Ooh,
you.
that could be fun. Because you could also
Yeah,
make that like kid friendly as well.
That's true. I mean,
sure.
listen, if demons are getting creative with their ways to possess people, they've done it all. Phones, apps, STDs, they're getting creative with ways to spread their evil. And now they've gone to Tamagotchi.
STDs.
They went back in time. I never had a Tamagotchi, but in all honesty, I have a short attention span, so I would have
It
killed that
probably
thing
would have
like maybe
died.
the day. It would have died instantly. I am not. Ironically, though, I have a real pet though, but he's fine. Cheddar's fine.
He's
I don't know
good.
where he went. Oh, he's over there. He's fine.
Oh,
So a
shoot.
Tamagotchi.
So I'm looking at the 50 best 90s toys for nostalgia purposes, right? List. And one of that's on here that I'm like, this could become a movie. This could be like a
Furby.
competition movie. Like a, huh? No.
Furby's definitely a horror movie. My
No,
God.
Yeah.
Furby's a horror movie. Yeah, that's just.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's okay. We can say the
Hank-
titles because we're just going to redact all of these to movie titles when we do the editing. Me and Alex.
Fine, put more work on me. Hank Green has a Furby that's made out of baked beans. Every time I watch a video of his, it's horrifying. I see it, I make eye contact with it in the background. I'm aware of it. Sorry, what toy were you gonna talk
Easy
about?
Bake Oven. The Easy Bake Oven Showdown.
Oh my
Oh,
It's
and
two
it's like,
God.
kids.
ooh,
It's two
uh-huh,
kids
it's like
in a neighborhood like fighting over who makes the
yeah.
best Easy Bake Oven recipes.
Or this little kid makes she starts with her easy bake oven as a kid. She turns that into a successful empire, Molly's Easy Bakes, and she is able to sell, and then it comes crashing down somehow when
Listen,
corporations get a
no,
hold
not
of
the
her
corporations.
recipes.
The Muffin Mafia is coming for her. They're just like, how dare you bake in our town? You better get out of here, you 12-year-old.
I would actually love that movie. When I had of course I had an Easy Bake Oven when I was a kid, and I absolutely love that thing. I would use it all the time. I would burn the shit out of myself on that because I had one of the original Easy Bake Ovens that they didn't put the warning labels that the whole thing got hot, the whole oven. So do not touch the oven at all because that light bulb was really strong.
Right.
Oh
I
yeah,
was about to say,
it get
wasn't it
hot.
just a light bulb?
Hmm But it was very cheap plastic. So the light bulb inside would heat up the entire plastic and you would just burn yourself trying to use your little shovel to pull out the little cake. Oh, it's my poor fingers.
Mm-hmm. Like I think Easy Bake could be a fun one. That could be a fun.
Easy Bake. Well, hey,
I would watch it.
they're making movies nowadays about snacks that I won't mention, but they're making movies nowadays about snacks. There are literally 2 movies coming out or that have come out this year about snacks. So
You
Easy
know what I
Bake,
want them
put it on the list.
shifting topic real I guess I want them to make a movie based off the Kellogg's brothers and how
Mm.
the cornflakes came into reality. Because I don't know if you guys know that
Ugh.
story.
No.
Uh,
Mm-mm.
cornflakes were actually designed to help stop people from masturbating. I'm not even kidding you.
Elaborate.
So the
How,
Kellogg's
or do I want to know?
brothers, I don't know their first and last name, were people who ran like a meditation health center where they're like, hey, all this stuff is bad. Masturbation, drinking alcohol, everything is bad, basically, and you got to live this like really pure life. And they were trying to find foods to eat because they can't have sugar or this or that. And one of the Kellogg's brothers left out basically dry bread turned into flakes, a little bit of mold, but like it was still good to eat, and that's how we got cornflakes. And they believed it would help you stop your desires. Then one of the brothers was like, "No, screw this," and he took the cornflakes and then added sugar, and then we got frosted flakes. That is a very, very like dense version of what happened. But yes, and I would love for a movie to be made off that.
Reminds me of the how chips got made, where it was a black dude in the South named George Crumb. That wasn't his real name, but that was like his nickname. But he ended up he used to make potato skins, were a very common like table dish back then, which was like thick slices of potatoes, or or not thick, thin. They were really thin slices of potato that were like seasoned and fed to like people. And they were like, I think they were fried a little bit. Um, and one time he went to this place, or no, they were thick. That's right, they were pretty thick. And he was just serving them at his restaurant, and this one customer kept complaining about his potato skins. So he was like, "All right, I'll fix you, you son of a bitch." And so he cut him. He cut a series of potato skins really thin, and fried the shit out of them, and put salt on them as a way to get back at him. And the dude ate some, and he was like, "Oh man, this is really good. Yeah, give me more of these." And so then that became like his comment. And like most people don't give him the credit as the person to make the first ever
Of
potato chip,
course.
because at that time he didn't think like, yeah, I see you enjoy this, I will call it the potato chip. Like it wasn't like that. But what we know as potato chips to this day, that was the first semblance of somebody making something similar to that product at that time.
I love that it was made out of pettiness. That is fantastic. I'm so happy I got to learn that today.
Yeah, you can taste the saltiness within the chips. Now I do.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Now I want
It's
some potato
great.
chips. Now I want some
A little
chips.
bit too. I want
I
like some Lay's or something.
Yeah, I have some sun chips in my
I'm gonna ask. Do you
cabinet.
guys? I'm gonna show you a toy, and I want you guys to tell me if you remember this one. Jonathan's getting attacked by the insects of the world.
They're
Dude,
coming in
I
the house.
took
They're like, it's too hot outside.
I was in the shower a couple days ago. There was a spider. I
Ooh,
saw him and I was like, this is a private area. I hate when bugs are in like the shower or the bathroom because I'm like, no, you should respect that space at least. Come on, go build your web somewhere else.
right. So I hardly ever see spiders in my apartment, but this was maybe a week ago. I was like getting ready to do my like night face wash whatever routine. I see a spider in the sink. And then I'm like, okay, let's get that out of here. So, I get rid of the spider. I like rinse it down the drain or whatever. About 5-ish minutes later, see another one in the sink that looks like the same exact like type of spider. I know it's not the same one because I disposed of that other one, but it looks like the same exact one. Disposed of that second one. Same amount of time goes by. I see a third spider. I'm like, am I dreaming right now or something? In the sink, also in the sink.
They're
I'm
probably
like,
coming
what
from
is
the
going
sink.
on right now? Yeah, I'm like, where are these spiders coming from? I'm like, I got nervous at a point. I'm like, is there just a colony of spiders living in my drain right now? So I got rid of that one. That was the end of it. I haven't seen one since. So
That'd be horrifying.
Pray
I
for
don't.
me.
They.
Yeah.
I see random.
Pray for
I've
me.
never had that type of experience. I will, because like I've never had that experience, and I never want that type of experience. Oh God, no, thank
Yeah.
you.
But tell me if you guys remember these.
Yes,
I
I
had
remember
one of
those. I
those.
wanted one of those. I don't think I
Audience
ever
for
actually
the
I didn't want one. I wanted a real dog, but I wanted that in the inner
for the audio
interim.
listening audience. I am. We were looking at Poochie, the robot pet. If you know, you know, and if you don't,
That's
look
what
it
it was
up.
called,
It's
Poochie?
Poochie spelled
Mhm.
Poochi. I would love to see a movie of this, just a horror movie where the robot dogs have taken over.
I used to love mine. It did not work for shit. It sat down and did it, and then it barked. And I, honest to God, you had to keep replacing the batteries over and over so often that eventually I didn't use it because I was like, I don't have enough batteries in this house.
You should get the
Oh my
cat.
God. But I
Should have
loved
got the
him.
cat one.
The cat
This
doesn't
is
look
on
as
the
cool.
list of the '90s best like nostalgic toys. I was like, oh my god, I forgot these
Oh,
existed.
I
Mhm.
forgot to. Oh, I loved mine.
This is for household. They had what is that?
No, this is a new thing.
Is that a
This is
new
not.
one?
Yeah, this is a new bulldog. I don't know if it's made by the same company, but you could buy it on Amazon. A bulldog robot action figure that looks very much like a real bulldog.
It does actually. This was for households that the kids wanted a pet, and the parent was like, "Here, you getting this."
Yeah, this is the best you getting is this piece of plastic that acts like a dog. That's all I can tell you.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I did get that. Wasn't taking care of dogs well. Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. True statement.
I just feel like robot dogs is something that I think because it's like that could be an interesting premise because it's like we normally when we think about robots we think of them exclusively as like having like subservient robot people or partners or like robot prostitutes or robot like companions or whatever. We never really think about like what if the only thing we use robots for in the future is just to replace pets? Because you know what will never die? A robot dog. And people love their
It
dogs. They
could
would love to have a robot dog for like
if
to have a dog forever
You're
who's like your
biogenic
companion
too.
forever.
if my
And they're
laptop
allergenic.
if my laptop, you mean hyperallergenic?
Hyperallergenic. Thank you.
If
no,
my
they don't cause
laptop,
allergies. They prevent
right?
them.
I said that.
No, you said
What
that.
were you
I
trying to
didn't
say,
say that.
Jonathan? Yeah.
I was gonna say if my laptop dies, what do you think about the heartache that's gonna happen when my robot dog dies?
Solar power, Jonathan. You take them for walks, right?
About the same pain that when actual living pet dies. I can tell you it hurts pretty bad.
And besides, like at least you can put the dog on a charger. He's not dead. He's just out of juice. Put him on the charger at night. In the daytime, he's solar
eventually-
powered, so he just goes outside and gets his solar energy. So he'll stay
But
forever.
like electronics still die. I mean,
Right.
you
Plus,
can't.
we're talking about the
there comes
future
a
where
great day
they
you won't be
figured
able
out
to
the
turn them on.
technology to have the dog live forever. Okay, we're not talking about right now.
Nothing is forever.
Talking about the year like the year like 2900 or something, where like they've figured out robo dog technology to make it where they will live forever.
Wouldn't it be easier just to get a real dog at that point?
No,
Right.
because
well,
like,
at least right
Pets-
now, pets can live like 15 to 20 plus years. You
You know
think
what-
a robot dog's living that long?
you know what a robot dog
and
can
I-
do
and
that
I-
a real dog can't do? They're obedient from the beginning. No training necessary. All you gotta do is beep boop boop. I plugged in a few things in the app. Dog just does whatever I need him to do, and doesn't poop. Never got to
Dude,
clean
you're
up
gonna-
a
you're
single
gonna get,
piece of
like,
crap for the rest of your
A
life.
You're gonna get a $1,500, let's say, robot dog, just because you don't want to teach a real dog how to sit.
Hey, it's been like
Or
better to
roll
buy
over.
one time $1,500 robot dog than spend way more easily 15,000 and counting to keep your real dog alive.
Yeah, but also there is literally a list of movies that I will say that show
that goes
why
wrong.
having robot companions is a very bad idea.
That's why this would be a horror
Ends up
movie. I
being
didn't say
very
this is
bad.
going to be a happy. This isn't.
But you
automated
listed
edition.
all the
This is
you listed all the pros.
robot dog edition.
Stop saying movies. I gotta edit these.
All right.
My God. No. I like. Well, that's the problem with toys. They keep turning into horror movies. What is at least
It's
an
true.
inanimate object that can be made into a movie that wouldn't be a horror film? Because it's also a lot of like just objects we use in our day to day life have been turned into horror films. I feel like it's almost a little easier to connect, like our cell phones, our computers, apps. Books definitely are apparently very evil. All toys.
Also,
I want something centered around an inanimate object, a whole movie centered around an inanimate object that you wouldn't think would have a focal of a movie point, and like,
I already said one. Easy
That doesn't
Pickup is not a
turn.
horror movie. That's just like a comedy, if anything.
yeah, but that's like still I meant like you follow a mug as it goes from like l- living with this person, and then it ends up at Goodwill, and then it ends
What
up in all
about
these crazy scenarios.
and why hasn't there been one? There probably has.
Of what?
Uh Where's Waldo?
Oh. Look it up.
Because
I feel
you
like
would spend the whole movie looking for him.
That's the
that
movie,
that would
though.
be interesting.
Maybe it's like there's a person who's like, I'm Waldo's friend and I haven't heard from them in a while. I need to find them. But it's just like a road trip movie. It's like a fun buddy comedy where they're just trying to find Waldo. And they're just like, I'm just here to find my friend Waldo. Have you heard from him? And it's like,
That
yeah. And
sounds
it's a
like
chase to find
one of those
Waldo.
like coming of age films. We were
Oh,
looking for Waldo, but
Where's
we found
Waldo?
ourselves.
But
Right.
Waldo,
We
but
we
Waldo was in us the entire time.
right.
Yeah.
Where's Waldo? Waldo
The
is
magic
within all
wasn't
of
in
us.
Waldo. The magic was in you the entire time.
I would be so PO'd if I watched the Where's Waldo movie and I do not see that red hat and striped sweater once.
No,
I would be
you'll
so
see
mad.
it at the end in like slow motion between like people in a crowd. Be like,
So
there he was, and there he goes.
there is I think a movie. There's a fandom for it. Hold on.
I love fandoms are insane. I love it. A lot of movies and shows and things are based off of fandoms and fan fiction now, and I'm learning that a lot more. There is a show that I watched, and it was based off a movie, which was based off a fandom or a fan fiction, and I was like, how do you get to that point? Where does that start? Who's reading this and going like, this is like a pretty good work. We're gonna have to, of course, change it because you're using actors or characters from a different show. But are like these people who write the fan fictions going out and just like sending it
Shopping
out
it
for
around.
review, or are like producers or scouts reading these, are going on these websites for fan fiction writers and like looking through and being like, oh, this is a really good one.
They probably see, there's already a built-in fan base for it. So they're like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and try to translate this into an actual movie, but a lot of times it doesn't happen.
What did you find? What
So
horrifying thing are
there
you going
was
to share with us?
there was plans to make a Where's Waldo movie, but that got canceled. However, what did get made? First of all, there is a Where's Waldo like little short TV show. That's an animated kids show that's on Peacock. Came out in 2020. There's like, but
Is it like
also
interactive?
there's a short in 2016 that was made called Where's Waldo, starring one Ezra Miller.
Of course.
Well, of course, yeah.
Fitting.
Well, I mean, they couldn't find him, or sorry, couldn't find them for quite some time. So
That's true. That's very
they really
true.
got into that role.
And apparently Seth Rogen is working on a Where's Waldo movie now. That's the most recent news. So it still hasn't happened yet.
I feel like that's the perfect person to make a movie about Where's Waldo.
I could see it being a
Really
coming
quick.
of age, like nice story,
Simon Pegg, has there been any controversy or like crap with him that you guys can recall or remember?
Not that I know of.
Oh, okay. Because I went on some, I don't know, I was just streaming movies, not really paying attention, and somehow I ended up watching like 3 of his movies back to back. Like I was just cleaning my apartment, but I kept like clicking, and I was like, oh, I just like went through Simon Pegg's movies, and I'm like, hopefully I didn't like help now support him because after a while you always find these things out about actors and shit like that, and I'm just like, please let there not be any controversy about Simon Pegg, and I just accidentally supported him. But he seems to be chill, as far as I know.
Yeah,
He's keeping his nose clean.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, not that I know of.
Okay.
Uh,
It's very
I
tiring trying to watch old movies and then being like, you're in this.
I I trend kind of like shifting into some people that should have movies made about them. I know on one of our episodes, I mentioned, or maybe it was just when we were just chatting, but Prince needs his
Prince
own
needs to have a
biopic.
movie. Yeah. I mean, Michael
Yes.
Jackson has one. Prince should have one.
Hmm.
Like,
And he had a life. He had
oh yeah.
quite a
Oh,
The
life.
yeah.
most sad part about his life was because I remember I looked up, I was like, does Prince have any kids? And the saddest thing is how he lost his son due to medical issues when his son was born. And it was really sad. And it hurt his marriage too. You know, his marriage didn't last off of that. His first one. And so it's just like Prince has lived a life of a lot, like some things good, some things bad, and he's done a lot. And also, the man's just like uber talented. I mean, the fact that he could play like God knows how many instruments. Like, there's a lot of albums
Yeah.
that he's literally played every instrument on it, like, and made it basically by himself. Like, he's just immensely talented. A movie about Prince would be interesting. Plus, his style.
The whole
I mean,
yeah.
he's the most unique. He's one of the most unique pop stars ever.
That's true.
Yeah, he really he transcended genre, he transcended like gender norms, he transcended just like style, the whole name change thing, the artist formerly known as Prince, the unpronounceable symbol.
Which that's what the title of the movie is going to be called. Is the artist formerly known
Artist
as
formerly known.
Because
and
we don't
that's the
have the
title.
capability to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Nichelle Nicholas, who played
Nichelle
O'Hara on
Nichols.
Star Trek. Nichelle Nichols, yeah. I would love a movie about her. The Black
Mm,
Lady comedy sketch show did a little bit of when she talked to Martin Luther King because he was the one who convinced her not to quit.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was like, I'm tired of the show. And he's like, well, you can't. You have to continue because, my kids look up to you. A lot of, black girls look up to you because you're not just playing a subservient or secondhand character. You're playing a main character with an important job. And, sorry, one sec. So she stayed on the show. Of course, I'm a big Star Trek person. And they did it so funny because there's like this line in there where she's like, you need to chill. And he's like, I'm Martin Luther King. I don't have to chill. And that scene just kills me. But I would love, she also, not only was she a black woman in the 60s working in the entertainment industry, she also worked on a very male heavy set with all these actors who at the time were, bigger known, like William Shatner and Leonard
oh,
Nimoy. I can't believe I forgot his name for a second.
Go
Leonard
ahead.
Nimoy. I'll redact the title.
I'm forgetting. No, I'm
Redacting
forgetting
some.
I'm forgetting his name. Oh my gosh, the British actor. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Anyway, I think a movie about, her career and her life would be like amazing because she did have such a prominent career in entertainment. And a lot of actresses will credit seeing her on that show in their childhood as why they were like, I can do acting, I can get in there.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah, because
for
she was
sure.
probably one of the only like black women in television at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are very few.
Hmm.
Uh,
I also last year, well, technically 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. With Hit Record, I worked on a project, and it was a short animated film talking about the life of Paul R. Williams, who was an architect in Los Angeles. And I need to have a movie about him made. Like they need to make a movie about him because his life was really interesting. He was like orphaned as a kid. So basically, Paul R. Williams, he was an architect. He created a whole bunch of um, buildings around Los Angeles. He designed a whole bunch of buildings around Los Angeles, and he was a black man, and he was orphaned as a kid. When he was starting up, when he was established, really, people, his white clients, did not want to sit on the same side of the table as him because of segregation and everything. So he had to learn how to draw upside down. He wasn't allowed in some. Yeah, he wasn't allowed in some of the buildings that he actually designed because of segregation. So I think he just has like a really interesting life, and I think a movie should.
That would be really cool, yeah.
I want a movie about the crocodile hunter. I want a movie
long
about
overdue too.
Steve Irwin.
Yeah.
His life, just like, because the man was just, from all reports, he sound like they've said he's just a nice guy. Like he was just a good man who loved animals and loved education, like educating people about animals. But I just imagine, like, because you know what it is? It's like, for me, I feel like biopics are only important when they're about people you don't know much about their personal life. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine what the biopic about Beyonce is going to be like? We're going to learn all types of new information that we did not know. Because it's just going to be like it's not like a major amount, but we're going to learn like the stuff, like some stuff about like maybe how she felt about certain things. Like, I don't think we're going to get like the dirty details of like the stuff between her and Jay-Z during the Lemonade and 444 time, but.
Or the elevator.
Or the like, yeah, we might not learn about what happened in the elevator, but we are gonna learn like at least how she felt. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's gonna be a scene where it's just like, just before it comes out, we see like how, like what her realistic like feeling was that led to her being like, I need to make an album about this. Like I need to write and talk about this. You know, and that could be interesting because we don't get that stuff from her. And it's the same thing with like Steve Irwin. Like I want to know what the man thought about things. Like it thought about like or how he felt when his show was blowing up, and like, or if he did like consciously, if that was just him, or if he consciously was like, I need to up the ante. I got to be more extreme. I got to get in there with these animals. Like I can't. It's not going to be entertaining if I don't like push myself to really be like right up there and up in front with these guys, with these animals, because that was his big thing. Is he was the daring guy.
Only I think his wife done a lot of interviews, and I've watched them, and she's fantastic. Continuing a song with his legacy and his children
kids.
also. Mm-hmm. I always see their Instagram pictures, and they're holding like some crazy animal. She was just chilling with this big ass spider. Her name, what's his daughter's name? I forget, but
his daughter's name.
Bindi and Robert's the boy.
There was just a big ass spider in her chest, and she's looking down at it lovingly, and I'm just like, you guys are much better than me. I am terrified of that. Was terrifying.
Irwins are a different breed,
the photo.
Man.
They really are. But she talks in an interview about like all this stuff and how he was so excited to always work with animals. And there was a particular interview I remember where she was talking about how, I think it was around the time he like actually wrestled a crocodile, and she's like, "What were you thinking?" And he was apparently like, "I had to be quick. That's all." He's like, "That thing was going to snap at me," and I was like, I feel like in those moments, Steve Irwin didn't think about like, "Oh, I need my fan base or blah blah blah." He was really like, "I need to survive the animal I'm interacting with at this moment," because he could have, so many of his stuff he could have been taken out way sooner than when he. I feel a little like.
Yeah, I remember all the controversy when he held, I think it was the boy Robert, in his arms as he was like feeding a crocodile or something, and that was so controversial. It was like all the media was talking about it at that time.
Yeah, but he had the baby here and the over here, so it's like it wasn't like he was having the baby right over where he's feeding this crocodile. I feel like it was, the kid was fine. And
you know, Bindi's married. I think she might have a baby too.
Oh, she's got a daughter too. Oh yeah, no, I follow. She married a professional surfer. She met in Australia. He's American actually, and he gave up surfing to work in their wildlife preserve. Is that what they have? they were gonna
Probably.
preserve, or is it, I'm not sure anymore. But she's got a daughter now, so Erwin's legacy continues. They're the only family I don't think are crazy when they interact with the animals the way they do. I have nothing but respect for them.
Yeah.
A
Mm-hmm.
movie I would love is Anthony Bourdain. Anthony Bourdain is
Oh,
That'd be
a
cool.
yes.
good man that I
Yes.
respect greatly. And everything he did was just really beautiful, and how he always would go to these different countries. And he wasn't going to these countries to like the nicer areas. He went really to the cities where you find that really good food, that food that's been passed down from generation to generation, people using the same skillet for years that have been seasoned perfectly. He went for the real stuff, and he's like, yeah, give it to me. And he's talked to these people. He never was condescending or anything like that. And of course, with the way he passed, he was clearly dealing with mental health issues and struggling like that. And to have interacted with so many amazing people and the life he had, and still bearing all of that with the mental issues he had, I think it would be a not only a good movie but a good inspiration and message to people who struggle with mental health, that you can still have such this amazing life. You can still travel, you can
Mhm.
still meet people, you can still try, new things, and in a way keep going.
Yeah, they should definitely. Wow, it seems like it would be like in the vein of Eat, or what's the movie?
Yeah.
Am I thinking of that movie? Yeah, Eat, like when you go on a journey and then you just try all these new things and new cultures. But that would
Honestly,
be
when I
his
go back
like
home to
biopic.
Chicago, the first place I go is like food. I don't even see people. Last time me and my sister went, right off the plane, we got pizza, got our deep dish.
Mm,
And so I get it. The moment I go to a location, I'm like, all right, I know these foods I have to try. But
I
he was
I'm
also
gonna
just,
go.
yeah.
I'm gonna go hip hop biopic for two of them. First one, hip hop biopic of Big Pun. We've gotten a lot of black hip hop biopics. Not any of anybody who's been the Latino rappers. I feel like either Big
Sure.
Pun or Fat Joe. One of the two of them should get a movie. At the very least, like a TV movie, just so we can see a little bit about their life. I know they're not like they're not like the I guess like controversial, like as like someone like an NWA or whatever, but like they still were there. I'm sure they had a different perspective on hip hop when they were coming up, like especially like being like having that Latin representation and or the lack thereof, because there wasn't very many Latin rappers. Like there were a lot of Latin producers, but not a lot of Latin rappers that were popping like they were popping during the '90s when they were coming up. So I would love to see a movie about either one of those men, if not both of them at the same time, maybe. Um, and then also a hip hop movie about Sharrock, who was the first female like MC. Like other women had rapped before, but not as their like dedicated genre. A lot of other women they had just done they had incorporated rap into their like stuff. Like Tina Marie did a rap for in one of her disco records, but she was a disco singer and just so happened to rap for one little piece. Versus Sharrock, she was an MC. That is her thing. She's like, I am a rapper. And she's the first to do it. And in a male dominated sphere at that time, because that's when hip hop was just getting started. So no one even really knew what the genre was yet or how big it was going to be. But she was like willing to take on the mantle and be out there with the boys and be like, look, I'm just as dope. And y'all ain't gonna silence me. And that's pretty cool. And I feel like that'd be something interesting to see because like, we got like now like Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, Ice Spice, like all these other female rappers coming out of the woodwork and who are becoming popular. But I think it'd be cool to have like the original woman, because I just found out about Sharrock like a couple of years ago, and I didn't know she was the first. I had always thought like MC Light or like Salt and Pepper were like the first.
I only
mm.
knew it because of they mentioned her in a special hip
They
hop
are
episode.
informational. They're educational.
They're it's surprisingly good information. I'm a little like, it sounds weird to say this, but I'm tired of the controversial biopics from artists and actors and things like that, because they're talking about like, oh, they had this big controversy here and there, but due to the social media now age and like everything, I already know everything about the controversy.
Well,
Unless
I
the
just
actor
mean
straight up,
controversy in
but
that
well,
like they made a stir that like made buzz, because like for NWA the parental advisory logo on hip hop records was because of that.
right, right. But I'm saying like with other, which again, with other movies and stuff. It's just they had this one big controversy. NWA had that, but like ones who are like, oh, they got into like these fights, they had these massive thing. It's like I already kind of know all that, and unless the actor's straight up telling me what happened, all you're doing is reacting the scene, and it's like, all right, but there's literally footage of that stuff. I can see the real thing. Why do I want to see this actor just do it? You know, I want to hear like more success stories, like you just mentioned, and like how they got there to there and how they overcame stuff. That inspirational biopics more than anything, not like ones that had like huge controversy or like how did they continue their career after this happened. No, I want to know about the first female rapper, or the first time they ever used scratch. That's why I'm thinking about the drunk history episode. The person who scratched the first record for DJing, which became a big thing in that world. Nobody had ever done it before because they were scared they were going to damage their record, which absolutely fair. Things like that, where it's the beginning of something. And I feel like not enough movies nowadays are really truly about the beginning of like either or like I said with the Kellogg's. Nobody knows the truth behind that. Nobody knows the beginning of that. Origin stories,
Who
proper
is
origin stories.
Captain
I want.
Crunch?
I would watch a movie about Captain Crunch.
That'd be so funny if like we
And
should
in
make
the
like a
end, he
serial.
becomes Admiral Crunch.
Yeah, we should make a thing about like like how all these serial people like as actual person like there's like oh man, I'm sorry to hear about Captain Crunch. I heard he was a great sailor. He died and no one's ever gonna remember his name. Well, here, have some cereal. Hopefully I'll make you feel better. Oh, this is really good. It's like, what are you calling it? And then you look at the gravestone, all dramatic. Camera pulls in.
A Tony the Tiger.
Just like big moment. Everyone claps.
Big
Everyone
moment.
cries. It's just a big moment in the movie.
I would love if we had or if we, what we need. Ooh, you know what we need. We need style movie with all of the Kellogg's or cereal mascots. I'm talking Tony the Tiger, the Lucky Charms
Love
guy,
that.
the Cocoa Puffs, the Cookie Crisp, all those mascots. We need an Avengers style movie with all of them.
Oh, all of them, but they fight their like off-brand. Like the Cocoa Puffs bird fights the Count Chocula.
Oh, I thought you meant the Cocoa Roos. I used to eat Cocoa Roos because that's what my mom would buy because I ate so much Cocoa Puffs, and that was that kangaroo versus the bird.
I could
Did
see
you notice the
that.
difference between Cocoa Roos and Cocoa
Oh,
Puffs?
absolutely.
They're cocoa. They're the balls.
Not
But,
nearly
yeah.
chocolatey enough. It's
Yeah.
too cheap.
It doesn't turn the milk as chocolatey.
That's right.
Blueberry versus Captain Crunch, because they kind of have the when he does
Here's another
berries.
one. And it's a movie I want to make one day if I ever have the budget to do it. Is I want to make a movie about the WASP pilots. WASP. WASP is an acronym standing for Women Air Force Service Pilots. They were the first female pilots to ever fly in war for the U.S. During World War II. Unfortunately, because of sexism, they were only ever really allowed to test a bunch of planes. They weren't allowed to fly as many combat missions. They did fly, I think, like 1 or 2 missions in their entire time serving, and a few women did die, whether it be from test flights that just went wrong or in combat. And they wouldn't finally get their like honors for being in the service, like their medals and everything, till Obama became president and decided to honor them on behalf of the presidency. And so I feel like those ladies deserve their day in the sun. You know what I mean? And I would love to see a movie about them and their stories and stuff. You can find a little bit about it online because I did a lot of research because I wanted to know more about them. And there's a whole website about them where you can hear a few audio logs where they interviewed some of the ladies, because I think at this point I don't know how many of them are still alive to tell their stories. They're easily like in their 80s and 90s now, but the ones who when they were alive at that time, they gave their interviews of like things that they did, like the WASP like songs they used to sing as they used to do their marches and stuff. And it's really interesting. So look, if you get a chance, go on to the Wasp Pilots like website, and you can find out a little bit of information about them, as much as they can gather. And I think there's books. I have to look it up and see, because I'm still doing a lot of research on them. But it's an interesting part of history that you never hear about. Definitely didn't learn about it in history class. That's for sure.
Any good biopic or, historical movie making nowadays, you really got to move away from the history we know. Like I said in the last episode, a lot of these films feel like they're being made from an 8th grade history book. The really generic stories we have learned, and like, cool if they were picking interesting people, but they're not. And then we get stuck with these films that are just like, okay, but why? Why did you decide to make it? And then you make it also, a lot of the movies also will get revamped into like, oh, we put, a popular song in there just to have a little more fun with it. No, no, okay. Napoleon
Are you
wasn't
calling out
singing
a specific
Bohemian
one right now?
Rhapsody. Yeah. Well, no, I can't. But
Uh,
Napoleon wasn't singing
oh,
Bohemian
sorry.
Rhapsody, you know?
I that wasn't like, don't say the name. That was like, oh, you have one on your mind right now.
There are a couple I have on my mind where they didn't make them modern, but some of the stuff they had said, I actually now forget this title, but I remember a movie having like the use of slang words from a modern day. I was like, that doesn't mean the same back then as it does now.
Well, it's just like
And I
Baz
don't think it was
Luhrmann.
even a
Whenever
slang
he
word.
makes anything, but like period piece or not, like he includes modern day music in his stuff, like hip hop and pop and things. And it's just like it takes you out of it sometimes. Like I know it's a stylistic choice, but it isn't necessarily a choice that helps like make you feel like you're in that time period, because it takes you out of it, because you're
Yeah.
like that music would definitely not exist during that time.
Kind of transition, and I know we should probably um, wrap up in a few, but we've talked about people, we talked about things. I'll talk about one place that I have on my mind. So ever since maybe I was a sophomore in high school, I had this obsession with the Dixie Square Mall. It is a mall, former mall, that was located in Harvey, Illinois, that went abandoned and untouched for over 30 years. It was a mall that was very short lived. I think it was only in operation for about less than 10 years throughout the 60s to 70s. Right as it was about to close, they filmed a scene, the car chase scene from the Blue. They filmed it throughout that mall. That was the mall that they used for this car chase scene in the movie. They actually like created a Toys R Us. Toys R Us wasn't there. They like created that Toys R Us. And after that
Product
movie,
placement.
you I was like, oh, should I not say that?
No, I was just saying product
But
placement. That's all.
yes, yeah, pretty much. I think Toys R Us like paid to be in the movie or something. And shortly after that movie filmed, apparently they like the production for the movie, they left the mall as it was. They barely cleaned it up, and that was part of the reason why it deteriorated and went abandoned. The Toys R Us was still there from the movie. The like set Toys R Us was still there from the movie. And over the years, it just became like a site for adventurers to look at. People who wanted to see. It was apparently Harvey, Illinois is apparently like a dangerous area, so a lot of like drug activity and like just
It's a
nefarious stuff would go
person
on there.
of our skin tone that should not go around as well. Just saying.
Okay, noted.
I'm
Uh,
just saying, if you ever want to go sightseeing, maybe
Skip Harvey.
skip Harvey, or go with a group of people who are not our skin tone.
Yeah, but so yeah, I'd love a movie based on that mall.
The Denver airport for me, because there's so much random shit in the Denver airport, and for some reason they have like uh gargoyles in their airport, and people are like, oh, this is a satanic home because there's like symbols, and some of the artwork they have in there looks straight up like, I'll be honest, it does look satanic or something, where it's like demons and stuff. I don't know what's going on with the Denver airport, and it's one of the largest airports in the U.S. One of them. It's just, it feels like there's a lot going around there, and you always just hear these random stories from it too, and just, oh no, I took off Freddy's head.
Oh,
Oh, does that go back on? But yes, I'll deal with that later. The Denver airport, I think would
nice.
be a good movie for at least location wise. But again, that's a horror
I
film again too.
I would love. This isn't a place, but this is something that I would really love a movie of. Is a movie about Lego, but not like how we already have like one based off the toy. I mean about the company, because like especially after I saw the Toys That Made Us episode about them, I just like I would love to see that as a real movie down, especially to see the reasoning behind like, or rather the conversation around. Okay, so we don't want anybody to be able to recreate our patented formula of bricks. So let's put all of the original cast under concrete. Like and bury them. Like we're that dedicated. I'm like, what was that conversation like? Of
They
like,
knew
if that's
their product, what it was going to be. Then they were smart of them. Look what's gone.
I mean,
Look
it's true.
what they've
Nobody's been able to
created.
replicate. Mega blocks don't stick like Legos do. That's for damn sure.
Legos will stay, and Legos can also be used as a weapon. They'll get you. They'll get in your skin somehow if you step on them.
Like I'm just saying, like it's the story of how that company came together and how it was a family company for so long, like is interesting. It's really interesting, and so I would love to see a movie about the company. I don't know who'd make it, but but it would be an interesting movie to see for sure. And I'd be into it. I'd be into it. I would also love to see the building of the like I would love to see a movie just about the Renaissance period and the building of like stuff like the like Notre Dame, like with the painting of the Sistine Chapel and all that stuff. Like I would just love to see a movie just set in that time period. Like the main character can be just random Joe Blow nobody who's like meeting all the different people of the Renaissance. But we never, because I think the obvious thing to do is to like make a movie about Leonardo DiCaprio or not Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo da Vinci.
They have similar names, so
They have a similar name, Leonardo da Vinci. But I feel like there's so much going on at that time. There's so many other people like making things and doing things at that time. You'd be doing yourself a disservice to just focus on the one person when you could like focus on the entire atmosphere at that time of just creativity and just, it'd be the same thing as like doing Harlem during the 1920s. Like if you're going to do it, like talk about that entire time period where you just have all these amazing creatives all working at the same time in this kind of like renaissance of art and culture happening.
yeah. Like on that note, I'd love to see a movie about Van Gogh because
That'd be interesting.
he lived like they say the tortured artist. I guess you could say he lived that life. And the sad thing is, he never got to see his people appreciate his work because it wasn't until after he died that people actually appreciated his work. He actually lived like a sad like he never got appreciated during his lifetime. So I'd love to see a movie about him.
Yeah, there was a kind of a movie about it, but like Picasso, Man Ray, all these artists back in like Paris in the 1920s hanging out. I would love to see it, almost like a Rat Pack. I would love to see a film about them and how they've just, these creative people were just bouncing ideas off each other, but they were also in such different forms of art. One's a painter, one's a photographer, another one's a writer, and it's just they were all so connected in a way. I think that would be really cool to see, and also how at the end of his life, Picasso, went senile, or I'm not sure what disorder he had, but he ended up being able to paint what he really saw, or his painting was affected. And when they had him paint like self portraits, it was this like warped looking thing, which is a lot of Picasso's end work. So it's like, I wonder what he saw when he saw like his original work. what he saw then. Did he still see his same work, or was it something different? What was going on in his head when they asked him to paint these things? Was it just like, well, this is what you're seeing and we understand it's war perception, but was there any bit of you still in that painting? Because it was such drastic changes. Because I think he had Alzheimer's, but I'm not
Mm,
sure. A lot of artists you'll see when their work changes drastically, it's some mental disorder that they have, and it's always I want to know what it's like between that phases before, it takes over to when they had started that middle ground. But anyway, 1920s Paris with the artist, I think would be an amazing film to see. Just all those different peoples in different media just hanging out together would be really cool.
Mhm.
yeah, that would be cool.
And I got his
Like
head back on.
kind of like the movie that Regina King directed that was released like a couple years ago. It's a fictional retelling of like if all these people were. Let me look it up.
Oh, you're talking
I
about
think you
one
saw it,
night.
Jerome. Yeah.
There's so much
Like
censoring going on.
oh yes, I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting. It's hard to
Good
talk
lord.
to not. It's hard to not talk about movies on a
No,
movie
I know.
podcast.
Well, yeah, that's why I was like, the movie I'm thinking of, I can't say.
But yes, I know what
But
you mean. Yeah, if it's a fictional retelling of like a conversation of these famous people all in one room, which is interesting.
what would be a cool movie to bring people from different like time periods and
Yeah.
like have them
Well.
interact with each other? There was actually really quick, sorry. There was a TikTok person who was like, "Oh, I want to bring Little Caesar Caesar into the future and have him try Little Caesars." And there was another TikToker who did this amazing bit as Caesar eating Little Caesars, and he spoke in Italian. He's like, "What is this?" They're like, "It's pizza." What is this? It's bread, sauce, and meat. He's like, "Oh, okay, this is good. What is it called?" And they're like, "It's Little Caesars." He's like, "Little? Who's supposed to be little?" They're like, "No, no, no, no. It's not about you." And then they have Caesar try the pizza. It's so great. It's so funny. I'll find the
I,
clip
I
and
I
actually
just
post it on
imagine
our
Caesar
Instagram
just
too.
being like, "What the hell is this? It's pizza. Pizza my ass. This is not pizza. It's garbage."
It's more like pizza. What is pizza? It's bread sauce and I'm like, oh, okay. And then he's like, Little Caesars. He's like, who dare calls me little? It's so amazing. And the TikToker who did it was so well done. And it's like it looked like Caesar trying Little Caesar. It was great. I'll find the TikTok of it, but something
I
like
would
that
just
with it just
There
bringing them
is
and just having them interact.
there
it.
is a there
Yeah.
is a show. I'm not gonna name it, but there is a show on a streaming platform that brings all of these. It's an animated show that brings like all of these historical figures in a high school together.
Oh,
Like
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
you're talking, yeah. Uh,
You
like
have
Abe
to tell me
Lincoln, Joan of
afterwards.
Arc, Joan of Arc, Cleopatra, JFK, Gandhi, Frida Kahlo, Harriet Tubman, Confucius. Um, yeah,
You know what a movie I'd like on? Abraham Lincoln's boxing career. I
he had a
think
boxing.
people don't recall he had a boxing career. Abraham Lincoln had a boxing career,
He had
and I don't think
hands.
anybody. Yeah, it,
I mean, he was
before
tall.
he was apparently like, yeah, he was a very athletic man, and he did boxing, and nobody talks about that. I know the other stuff is very, his presidency and what he did and everything was, of course, very important, and that should be a big focal point. But the man had other interests in life.
Oh, I was gonna say I guess the last one for me would be and on that historical figure note, we need to see a movie that takes place in ancient Egyptian time that actually stars Egyptian people or people of color at least.
That's
Give me
true,
that
because
at
I
least.
think people get it confused because it's the same thing with the Cleopatra argument of people being like, Cleopatra was black because she's Egyptian. It's like, hold on. Here's the thing about Egyptians, though. Not every Egyptian, just because it's in Africa, looks like what you would assume a stereotypical like black person looks like.
Well,
You know what I
I was
mean?
thinking the opposite because I'm thinking of one particular movie. I was where they completely whitewash the people, and it's supposed to be
There
Oh no,
are
no.
taken.
I
so
know what
many
you
of
mean.
them.
I'm just saying there is also that thing of like it's also the opposite effect too. People being like it should be dark skinned people. It's like no. If anything, they should look more. The skin tone around that time would probably be a mix between darker skinned people and probably closer to the Middle Eastern skin tone as well. It'd be like a mix of the two
Because
in Egypt.
they're by the Mediterranean. No, you're
Yeah,
absolutely
by the
right
Mediterranean
because
Sea.
there's the Egyptian actor, he
Rami Malek.
yes,
He did
Mr.
Redacted.
Robot. Shit, yeah. He did that show. I'll redact it because I needed to tell you guys it so I could get the name. He did a movie.
Rami
where
Malek.
he-
Rami Malek.
Robbie Malek. Is that
The guy who
okay.
started Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
Rami Malek.
I'm gonna have to watch every bit. Like usually I can skip a couple of bits because I'm like it's fine, but my ass is gonna have to watch every second
Yeah, I'm
of
gonna
this
have to
podcast.
listen to this entire thing.
Yeah, this is not. It's going to be a sit here and just listen.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a fun.
But
time.
there was another movie he was in where he wore Egyptian clothing, and a couple people online were like, "Why wouldn't they get an Egyptian to do this? You know, why are they getting this actor?" People are like, "He is Egyptian. This is what Egyptians look like." And people don't know that. Some people assume, because it's Africa, they are black, or they whitewash it. No, they look like him. That's who they look like because that's what he looks like. And a lot of Egyptian actors look like him. Yeah, they're closer to the Mediterranean Sea, so they would look more like. Shit, I'm really, really bad at geography, so I don't know what countries are around the Mediterranean Sea. I think Greece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Greece too.
Yeah.
Greece.
Greece
It
is
would
a
be around
Mediterranean-
that
yeah,
olive type skin tone,
like
type.
Croatia.
Yeah, like
Although
I
I'm
think a lot
far
of people
from Egyptian, but it's closer to the skin.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Although I
I
feel-
think it's really interesting when people are like, because they want to die on that hill of like Cleopatra was black, and it's like she may have been darker skinned. That I don't think she was the way you're envisioning black to be. Is not necessarily what she looked like, especially because, and here's the most important part of this, there was no such thing as a damn camera back then. We're going off of somebody's writings and geography to try and figure out what skin tone this woman, who we have no picture of, looked like. People's obsession with some things when it comes to that stuff, where I'm like, I get it. Like, you want to make sure that the representation is there, but at the same time, don't just automatically assume what you've heard from somebody else. Like, you gotta do the research.
Or it's easy fix. Get the actors who have that background, an Egyptian
who
actor,
are
yeah,
Egyptian.
from that
an
country,
Egyptian actress.
right?
I'm sure there's plenty. It's not as difficult,
That way
same with
nobody
Latin
can
people.
argue. That way nobody can argue. Like, what? Why did you cast this person? You didn't cast an Egyptian person. Check my
Yes, I did. They are
Ancestry.com.
Egyptian. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
However,
that one, they're like,
You
why
gotta be
did they
careful
get an
with that
Egyptian?
too, because you'll get some people who are like, they're from Egypt, but there's like get a white person from Egypt who was born there, grew up there their entire life.
That's also they gotta.
It's like
it's a
they don't
balancing
count.
act.
They don't count.
Well,
I'm
it's
talking about
like-
people who are like native Egyptian, like their bloodline is native Egyptian.
Well, they'll do that with like Native American characters. They'll get Latinos to play them. And
Yeah.
like, yes, we are technically Native American, but we are very off
Far
from them too.
removed.
Like, I'm not gonna go.
Yeah, the lineage
know,
is diverged
Yeah.
from that.
It's very
as the years
diverse.
has gone
Like,
on.
I'm straight Mexican, but I can be considered Native American because that's where especially my dad's family have roots there. But at the same time, I've had so much mixed blood in me, man. Like, I'm a melting pot. I'm only 50% Mexican. Other stuff is just crazy. But I think just getting the actor from the actual region is very simple. And then people will still complain, but you can just be like, they're from there. How are you going to tell them who is from there, whose families are from there, who ancestors are, that they aren't what you want them to look like because you don't, for whatever reason? I think that's a good thing. I have one more movie that I would love to have been made. The Great Molasses Flood of 1919. It happened in Boston. It's a very interesting story, but cutting to the end, there was a big like cylinder of molasses because it was a very, desired thing that broke, flooded all the streets of Boston, and people actually died in it
That stuff
because the molasses was
stinks.
so sticky and people were like stuck in it. They had to be rescued from molasses. Some people drowned in molasses. It was terrible. But it's such an interesting like how it came to be, to why it was preserved in a giant like tank cylinder by the Boston Bay, and not enough people know about it. And it did have like I think 36 people died in the Great Molasses Flood.
Why did they need that much molasses in one place?
It was during the wartime, and molasses was used as a substitute for sugar. It was also used in weapons, bullets. I don't know how. And it was just a big substitute for stuff. And they had to put it somewhere. So I guess a giant cylinder in Boston by the bay. And they actually ended up just like swiping all the molasses or watering it down into the water. And people say you can still smell molasses to this day when the air breezes in the right direction.
Wow.
Interesting.
So I think that's pretty
Molasses. The smell of molasses is gross enough. I would not want to be swimming in it.
cool. You don't want to drown in molasses?
I'd rather not.
That's a horrifying death. Is there a final movie or idea you would?
I've got two. Firstly, I love a movie on Tyra Banks. America's Next Top Model. I like well, just her career, like, you know, from going from supermodel to either her or Vanessa Williams, one of the two. Especially
Tyra.
Because Vanessa Williams was like, wasn't she the first Black Miss America, even though it was stolen from her?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because she had like nude photos or something.
Yeah, somebody found some photos of her and they were like, you can't represent Miss America with these photos out. They're gonna take that away from you. And it's just like, really? But it's like either Vanessa Williams or Tyra Banks. Probably Tyra more likely, because Tyra's done, like, I think Vanessa Williams after that like became an actress, and then that was pretty much it. Not that she hasn't done amazing things after that, but just like as far as like Tyra has been all types of places and done so many different things. And then also I would love a history on the creation. Oh,
really quick. Tyra Banks was also in a movie that's similar to the movie we were supposed to review. So
I know people have been talking about
that
it.
movie. Yeah, it's probably thanks to her that movie moved forward.
Oh, true. Yes, yeah, that's true. And then also, I would love to see a movie about the creation of like, and you can do it like a joint movie, even though I don't think the companies are quite connected. Is the creation of the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. I would love to see how that started and how it grew to be what it is today. And then, of course, it would bookend with, like, now girls can join the Boy Scouts, which now the name has been changed to Scouts. It's no longer the Boy Scouts. But then the Girl Scouts company still exists as its own singular entity.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
That's because of them cookies. They refuse to. That branding. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Branding. That's why I'm like, there's a bias in there, because it's like, they're like, the girls want to join the Boy Scouts, so they're like, okay, even if it's begrudgingly or not, they still made the decision to do so. And they changed the name to Scouts. Meanwhile, the Girl Scouts, well, some boys would like to be a part of it. No! Hell no!
Well, no, in all fairness, they eventually just let up because they're like, all right, you can join us. But the Girl Scouts were always very clear, like, no. And when it's not sexism, we just have a brand. And, well, we make the money. Clearly, you guys need more people.
Right.
That's
I
why
don't see
you're
no
letting
Boy
girls
Scouts
in now.
selling cookies at Target.
They don't sell cookies. They sell popcorn and magazine subscriptions. I know, because I used to be one. And popcorn. We used to sell like kettle corn and stuff like that in tins, and it was really good. Too.
Anybody who's selling me a magazine, I find shady. I don't care if it's a kid in
Girl Scouts sell magazines.
Or I don't know that. All I know is the cookies.
They still do now, but they used to.
I doubt it. That's cookies. I want Girl Scout cookies.
Anyway, I would love to see a movie about them creating.
I know it's not Girl Scout season, isn't it? Right?
No, that won't be.
No, that's in April.
Yeah, that's like an April, March, around that time, around the springtime.
It's in April because it's around my birthday. I am very aware when Girl Scout cookies come out. I wait for those cookies. The coconut ones, I don't know what they're called nowadays. They used to be called backroot. I don't know whether, but they're coconut and have little chocolate drizzle.
Ooh, also, sorry, last few that I actually just thought of. Also, love to see a movie about Sub Pop. I want to see a movie about that record label being made. Because I was gonna say like I would love a Nirvana movie, but that movie would be sad. I'd rather see
It would be sad.
It'd be sad. I would rather see like the company that became like the big music label of the Pacific Northwest and put on people like Nirvana and Soundgarden and all these other people that like, and it changed the game of music because Seattle didn't really have a music scene for a while, like until the grunge era really like defined it. So it'd be really cool to see a thing about them. But then also in the same music vein, I want a movie about MTV, like its creation, its evolution.
Oh, I thought you said MTB.
No,
I was like, what's that?
No, MTV.
Okay,
because that was a crazy thing when MTV came out, especially how controversial it was. People were like, "This is gonna ruin our kids. Don't let this air on television." Like, you know what I mean? Like it was a big thing when MTV came out. No one has seen anything like it, especially with all the programming they had on there at that time, when they first started.
I miss TRL. I still miss it. I would watch it today if it was still a thing. Yeah, and it really was about the music. Well, it could be the rise and fall of music because MTV is still around, right?
Yeah, that's
They
still
mainly
around,
show
but they
like
don't do the same things
ridiculousness.
they do now. Now it's pretty much just
No,
reality
they just
TV.
show, yeah, and the show that Rob Dyrdek hosts, 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, because after Vivo came around, Vivo has pretty much replaced MTV's like become the new like music video thing. So so they've kind of taken MTV's spot in that sphere. So MTV's just pretty much become like reality TV shows and like, and I guess like like the stuff hosted by Rob Dyrdek, and that's pretty much it because they don't even do cartoons anymore or like movies or anything like that really. But they're still around, you know. They do stuff from here and there. So,
but that would be a cool show.
I would love.
I mean,
I think
movie.
I would love to see a movie about MTV, like how it grew and became what it is today. And I guess
so many
one of
like iconic, especially in the late 90s.
Audience, just so you know, there wasn't your things that go wrong. Jonathan just thought he had to sneeze.
Oh, I thought you were just getting really emotional for a second. I was like, you're feeling it. I get it. At that time, everything was important to us, you know, MTV, all
nostalgic.
That
stuff. Especially in the 90s, early 2000s, MTV was a staple in the cultural lexicon. So,
oh yeah, the MTV Movie Awards, that was like the other premier movie award show people would tune into, and the MTV Video Music Awards too. Like if you weren't watching, there were the high class ones like the Oscars and the Grammys, whatever, and then the fun ones were those. Like people would look forward to those because that's where they would just have a fun time, make jokes, all that stuff, and it was great.
Well, I think that concludes all of our shows, movies that we like to suggest. Executives, if you're listening, which you shouldn't be because you should be negotiating and thinking about how you can pay actors and writers better. But if you just happen to be listening, then go ahead and take these ideas, send us an email giving us some sort of payout credit about using these concepts, and we look forward to seeing them in theaters,
but only after the strikes are over.
Yes, exactly. Jerome, socials, where can we find you at?
You can find me at Jerome Rhett on Instagram, and also be on the lookout on the YouTube channel for extra content that you cannot get anywhere on any of the audio streaming platforms, stuff like gaming videos, vlogs, book reviews, mini reviews. Although in solidarity of what we said earlier, there will not be any more mini reviews for right now until things change. So you can watch the ones that are up there now, but the new ones and ones that we've recorded will not
right,
be
we're not deleting anything.
Yeah, we're not deleting anything, but nothing new in the mini reviews category will be going up. But other stuff, book reviews, vlogs, gaming content, other things like that will be on the YouTube channel and still be uploaded there. So go and check it out at The First Ones to Die on YouTube. If you're already on YouTube, by the way, feel free to subscribe, like, favorite, share, comment, all that good stuff. And if you're not there on the audio stream platforms, please go and visit and check out some of our extra content that's up there, because I promise you will not be disappointed. It's interesting, it's fun. So there you go. Alex, where can people find you?
You can find me at Alex and Nobody on Instagram and on TikTok, where I post little clips of episodes we do and things we may do, and just me being bored and reviewing stuff myself. Although I might not be doing that as well, just in solidarity. You can also check out our Instagram, where I post stories on how to support the writer strike. Different, like the entertainment fund that helps out writers and actors who aren't going to be able to make rent sometimes, or buy food. This way they can keep on striking and know you have your support. Also visit the websites for SAG and WAG to see how you can support them in your own way. And we'll try to, of course, show all the support we can and keep up to it on our social media. That way we're just, you're in the know as much as we're in the know. What about you, Jonathan? Where are we finding you?
That's right. You can find me at Jonathan Keys on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please. You can also follow us at The First Ones to Die on all of the social channels. Go check out those our links and resources that Alex mentioned. And if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. Go ahead and comment down below. What people, place, thing would you like to see turned into a movie or other media? You can give us 5 stars. We would greatly appreciate that. If you're listening to us on your podcast listening platform, go ahead and give us a review as well. That would mean a lot to us and it would help us out a lot. And until next week, when we'll have something for you.
Might be the time for Trivia 8, the fate of the trivia.
Right. Hey.
You never know. It's coming at some point.
What's gonna be the prize though? Because we can't review a movie.
The prize is gonna be
the person picks the next topic.
The prize is gonna be some candy. All right, we're gonna get some candy and we're just gonna share it. It's gonna be cotton candy.
And a wholesome moment.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. We're all gonna all eat candy together. And if you lose, you can't eat the candy. You have to watch somebody else eat candy and have the joy of enjoying their favorite candy snack.
So how do we all eat it together then?
But also, if I win, I don't want you guys watching me eat candy. That's going to be so awkward. Just staring at somebody eating the candy in complete silence. We just
sit here like...
Just going to be an ASMR moment of just watching someone just eat their whole Snickers bar.
Right.
Or Twix candy. Just
move closer to the mic so I can hear the candy.
Closer. I can't hear that wrapper crinkling. I want to hear that wrapper, goddammit. Put it next to the microphone.
Oh, you too. Well, come join us next week for whatever chaotic thing we're doing next. We'll figure it out.
Right.
It's a process. We'll do it. We're good. But until then, have a good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.